Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Susan Welton. I'm the Oracle Marketing Manager here at Perficient, and I'm excited to be moderating today's webinar on Oracle Sales Cloud Release 12. In today's session, we're going to review the key release changes as well as upgrade preparations, and we'll also address Engagement Cloud. We are recording today's event, and we'll email you that information on how to access the recording following today's event. Time permitting, we are planning on having a Q&A session at the end of today's event, so please type your questions into the chat box. And you are free to do that at any point in time throughout today's webinar, so if a question does arise as the material is being presented, please go ahead and feel free to put those into the chat window. We will address them during the Q&A portion, but if that question comes up, go ahead and ask it. I'd like to go ahead and introduce today's speakers today. We've got Suresh Krishnan, we've got Will Shea, and Suren Nutapati. Suresh leads Perficient's CX practice, which includes Oracle Sales Cloud, Oracle Service Cloud, Oracle Marketing Cloud, and Siebel CRM groups. Suresh has deep skills in customer experience and CRM and has worked with Oracle CRM implementations over the last 18 years across various industries and horizontal solutions. Will is a solution architect in Perficient's Oracle CX practice. He is an accomplished Oracle applications consultant with 13+ years experience in information technology consulting. He is also certified in Siebel and Oracle Sales Cloud, and he is an expert in the latest Oracle Sales Cloud offerings. Suren is a solutions architect in Perficient's Oracle CX practice as well. He has more than 14 years of IT experience and has been part of multiple on-premise and cloud CRM application implementations. He is an Oracle certified expert in Oracle Sales Cloud, Siebel CRM, and Oracle SOA Fusion Middleware 11G. In a moment, I'd like to go ahead and hand it over to our speakers, but first, let me give you a quick overview of Perficient. Perficient is a leading digital transformation consulting firm serving clients throughout North America with a primary focus on helping companies execute their digital transformation strategies to drive growth and customer acquisition and loyalty. We have a broad network of locations across the U.S., as well as offshore facilities in India and China, and a domestic delivery center in Lafayette, Louisiana. We deliver digital experience, business optimization, and industry solutions that cultivate and captivate customers, drive efficiency and productivity, integrate business processes, reduce costs, and create a more agile experience. Give you a little background on Perficient. The company was actually founded in 1997. We are a public company, and we have nearly 3,000 employees. I always like to mention our repeat business rate of 95% because I think it's a real testament to our commitment to our customer success. We have formed strategic partnerships with each of the major technology vendors and are pleased to have achieved Cloud Select status as an Oracle Platinum Partner. We also have dedicated solution and industry practices. At this point in time, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Suresh now to provide a brief overview of Perficient's CX practice. Suresh?
Thanks, Susan. Hi, everyone. I would just want to take a minute to introduce our CX practice and before I jump into the presentation itself. So the CX practice of Oracle actually predates Perficient itself, and Perficient has grown through acquisition. So the Perficient CS practice was formed through one of the acquisitions, and then it started back in early or late 1990s. And it started as a Siebel practice, which is kind of the leading CRM software that was out there for a while. And then since then, we've also grown with Oracle in terms of their capabilities from a CX perspective. We have branched heavily into the cloud space, and we started with their first version of the cloud platform, which is CRM On Demand. We were one of the leading implementers of CRM On Demand, or continuing to be one as the platform still exists. And we are since then subsequently specialized in Oracle Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, and Marketing Cloud. And we have the certifications in those. In addition to that, we also, in addition to just doing implementation services, we also do CX strategy and roadmap and assessments. So that's a really quick overview of our Siebel practice, or CX practice. And then what I wanted to do was to kind of get a quick sense of where the audience is at. I'm expecting most people of you are actually using Sales Cloud, and so I want to know how much of you are currently on R11, or if you've already been either started in R12 or have an upgrade that's done for R12 already, or you are not an Oracle Sales Cloud customer and are looking to gain some information about Oracle Sales Cloud. So if you can go ahead and answer those questions, and then I'll let you know how things are coming in. The results are actually starting to come in, and it's kind of an even split right now between R11 customers and Oracle Sales Cloud customers, about 9 even, and we have 2 customers who are on R12. So with that, let me go on to the next set of questions. So again, if you can kind of let us know what you have some difficulty with, right? Or you want to look at it more so as to what are the things that you'd like to improve upon going forward. One is the UI is a bit difficult to manage or navigate. The other one is the level of mobile support or mobile capabilities. The third area is reporting, and the fourth area is security. Again, I'm starting to see a lot of people answering the questions. It seems to be a fairly even split. The top 2 are reporting and the UI. We have 9 in reporting. We have about 8 in UI, and we have about 4 in the mobile, and then 3 in security. So the reporting and the UI seems to be the biggest concern for most people. With that, thank you very much for answering those questions. I think it will be very helpful for us to understand the audience, and we'll be addressing a lot of what's coming in R12 with these things. So hopefully that gives you the information you're looking for in this presentation. There you can see the results. So as far as the agenda is concerned, what we're going to cover today is kind of give you a very high-level overview of all the product highlights that's coming up. Obviously, we'll be covering some of the key highlights. We'll also give you information on where you can find some more information about what's new with R12. Most people are already familiar with those things, but we wanted to give you some information on that. And then also give you the information about the new mobile app that's coming up. It's called Enterprise Mobile. The first 2 topics will be covered by Will Shea, and then Suren will be covering the upgrade process and also specifically around the security upgrade that's happening with R12 and some of the activities that should have already happened with the R12 security upgrade as some of the pre-upgrade tasks and so on. And then in the end, I'll be covering the Engagement Cloud, and we'll hopefully have some time left for the Q&A portion of this presentation. The one other thing I wanted to kind of remind everyone that we are leveraging a lot of the information that's been provided by Oracle through the documentation and presentations they've done over a period of time recently. So there are some statements we'll be making based on what Oracle has shared that are under their safe harbor statement. That means those are product features and functionality that they're referencing, and the timing and things which are under their safe harbor statement. So those safe harbors will continue to apply, and so this is based on the best information we have from Oracle at this point in time. With that, let me hand it off to Will. So Will? Will, are you there? Are you on mute?
Yep, sorry about that. Thank you, Suresh. So what I'm going to be covering today is the R12 product highlights. So the first area that we're going to be reviewing is the user interface area. And then we'll dive in and we'll discuss some of the other general key enhancements for Oracle Sales Cloud R12. Okay, so the first enhancement we'll look at is from an user interface perspective is the homepage personalization. The homepage springboard contains a list of icons that allows the users to navigate to different functional areas in Sales Cloud. in R12, it becomes easier for user to specify which icons to be added to the homepage springboard. So if you look at the screenshot I have provided here, up here, there's an icon that's been added, and now it allows the user to navigate to that specific icon, and then a page will come up where you can go in and personalize the springboard. Okay, the next user interface enhancement that's been made is what's called the overflow menu button. Prior to R12, custom buttons that's added to the overview page would stretch horizontally across the page. So if you have 10 buttons, what you'll do is you'll scroll through, or you'll basically align horizontally, and at times, depending on the number of buttons, you'll actually cover up the title of the page on the overview page. So as part of the enhancement for R12, a new icon that's been added, and if you can see, it's this double arrow there, and that's basically what is called the overflow icon, and it now provides access to buttons that are hidden because of the length and the number of buttons on a page, which makes the user interface much cleaner. So instead of being aligned horizontally, now it's aligned vertically. And you can click that icon, as I mentioned earlier, to see all the buttons that you have built out for that specific page. Okay, the next enhancement for the user interface is the additional infolettes pagination dots. So for those folks that are not familiar with Oracle Sales Cloud, there's these buttons that you'll see on the screenshot, and these are called the pagination dots. Essentially, each icon will navigate you to a specific infolette page. So now with R12, the sales admins can create up to 5 additional pages with embedded analytics content and grant access to each page by role. So the layout of each page can be customized to include a single report, multiple reports, or an entire dashboard. So what I have provided below in the screenshot here, it's basically a list of multiple reports that are displayed on this specific page. All right, moving on to the next enhancement. It's a user preference page. So the user preference page has been redesigned and streamlined to match the simplified UI experience. So prior to R12, the user preference page was built on the standard UI. So from a user interface perspective, it wasn't very clean. So now they have streamlined that and redesigned the page to basically align with the simplified UI. So the screenshot here, what we provided, it's basically what it looks like now. As you can see, if you've seen what it looks like in our prior to R12, it's on standard UI. Okay, next enhancement around the user interface is the PI data masking fields. So PI stands for Personally Identifiable Information, which is basically data used to uniquely identify a person. In R12, additional security functionality for PI has been added to enable data masking on specific fields in Oracle Sales Cloud. So what you see here on the specific slide are a list of the fields that are going to be supported in R12 for data masking, and those fields include the home address, home phone number, personal email address, and SSN. And one thing I do want to mention here is that you can configure it where for these specific fields for specific job roles, for example, if you have an admin job role, you can open up these fields where the those users can actually see the data in those fields, and you can mask it for other job type or job roles in Oracle Sales Cloud. Okay, so that kind of wraps up the user interface enhancement. So next, we'd like to go ahead and move in and talk about some of the R12 product updates in some of the other key areas. So one of the enhancements that's often asked about is this multi-select and mass update in Oracle Sales Cloud. In R12, users now can select multiple records in the lead or the opportunity pages and perform a mass update of the transactional data. So one thing I want to point out here is that currently the leads and the opportunity are the only the objects that are going to be supported, but they do have on their roadmap to support objects in the future. So let's take a look at this example, how this functionality can be beneficial or helpful. For example, if we're looking at the opportunity page, now you have the flexibility or the ability to update multiple opportunities. So status, close date, the sales stage, win percentage, or win loss reason in one mass update action. You can, and this is also helpful if you want to add the same comment to multiple records at once. So if you take a look at the screenshot I have provided on the slide, now there's a action called Mass Update under the Actions button that is going to be enabled in R12 to allow the users to perform multi-select and mass update in Oracle Sales Cloud. So the other feature that's been introduced in R12 is that now the admin can build dynamic lists for different roles with the fields and data they need to see on the list page. So prior to R12, you have to go, when you build a list page, it's a global list page that applies to all the job roles in Oracle Sales Cloud. Now you have the ability to go in and create custom list pages with the different fields and the data for specific job roles. Okay, and then we'll talk about the password policy control, which is there's some enhancement that's been made in this area. So prior to R12, when requesting changes to the password policy control, that's typically done through a service request with Oracle. And now in R12, a sales admin can do the following without having to enter a service request. One of them being the ability to expand capabilities to another role. And what you can also do is for the user lifecycle settings for new users, these are the things that you can do now with a sales admin role. You have the ability to set up the password policy, the username generation rule, and notification templates. Okay, and the next enhancement, it's around the Excel data import macro. So this tool is actually available prior to R12, but enhancements have been made for this specific tool. Basically, the Excel data import tool, for those folks that are not familiar with this tool, is that you have the ability to download a Excel spreadsheet, and basically it allows you to enter data into different columns. And then what it does, by a click of a button, it'll take the data and import it into Oracle Sales Cloud. So currently, these are the list of objects that are supported, what I have listed on the slide. So these are the sales user, sales category, or catalog, I'm sorry, accounts, contacts, account hierarchy, leads, and opportunities. And there's actually a document in Oracle support site, which I have listed the ID there, where you can get information about how this tool works, and it will actually guide you and provide you a list of steps to do the data import using the data import macro tool. Okay, so let's talk about analytics. There's some enhancements that's been made in this area. So one of them being the additional infolettes that are made available. And there's new subject areas that's been introduced in R12. And those are service requests, which is part of the engagement cloud, which Suresh will talk about in more details later. And then we have partner relationship and sales performance. The other one that I don't have listed on here is what is called the data visualization tool. So now they have introduced a connector which allows the tool to connect to Oracle Sales Cloud to provide visual charts and additional features within the Oracle data visualization tool. All right, so what we want to focus on next is the enterprise mobile. So currently, there's a mobile app out there that's basically the Oracle Sales Cloud mobile app. It's often referred to as the classic mobile app. So moving on to R12, they are going to consolidate these mobile apps that we have out there. And just to name a few, so there's the Oracle Sales Cloud mobile app, which I mentioned earlier. There's also one for call reporting, and then there's another one for analytics. So going forward, what they want to do is consolidate all these apps into one. And so they're going to be one common app. And so what we'll want to do is kind of talk about some of these product highlights around the enterprise mobile that's going to be introduced in R12. So we won't go through all these functions in details, but I'll just kind of highlight some of these functions that are supported for the enterprise mobile. Now you could prepare for daily appointments and plan for the day. View aggregated activities, visual timeline. Capture calls and emails as an activity. You have the ability to log calls and log meeting minutes. You can do the speech to text, which basically capture notes, and then you have the ability to now attach documents. There's some enhancement that's been made around find the sales record using the save filters, the search, the map capabilities within the enterprise mobile. You can accept, qualify, and convert leads, and then you can also update and view service requests. And there's also a new subtab that's been introduced, and that's the assets subtab. Okay, and then we'll move on and talk about, now there's a new app that's been introduced, as I mentioned earlier, called the Enterprise Mobile. There's also now a new tool within Oracle Sales Cloud. It's basically called the Enterprise Mobile Composer, which allows the user to go, or a developer to go in and configure the Enterprise Mobile app. Some of these product highlights include you have the ability to drag and drop, add custom fields, add conditional fields. What they also added is what is called the preview layout. The screenshot I have provided here basically shows you what that looks like. When you configure the app, you can see it in real time and get a preview what that looks like. You also have the ability to add actions and links and add field groups as well. Okay, so what I just covered are some of the new key enhancement that's coming out in R12. What I'd also want to cover is what's going away. So there's a couple of things I want to kind of point out. If you're on, you started with the release 8 or earlier, and you're still using the old account, object, which is called sales account, that's going to be going away in R12. So it's important that if you fall under this specific category, some of the things that you want to consider. So one of the things I listed on here is to recreate your sales account custom fields and child objects under the account object, which is the new object for account. The other thing that you want to consider is to make sure that you migrate your data from the sales account object to the new account object. So during this migration, there's several areas that you also want to analyze to make sure that you cover, and those things include the page layouts, the searches, reports, any scripting that you did, any file imports, and security that's been configured to that are still pointing to the old object. The other thing I wanted to mention are the desktop UI, and these desktop pages will soon be not available going forward. So what you want to do is you want to transition and make sure all your desktop pages are converted or migrated to the simplified pages. And the list below provides a list of objects that you want to review. And these things include the accounts, contacts, household, activities, opportunities, leads, forecasting, partners, campaigns, and with reports as well and dashboards. Okay, and last slide that I have on here is basically the additional resources. If you want to learn about what's available in 12, there's a document out there called Oracle Sales Cloud What's New R12, Release 12, and then it's a very good guide that basically gives you basically walks through all the features. They also provide some additional links to security upgrade guide, and it also kind of highlights some of the features that are being phased in R12. And then on the right of the slide, basically some additional resources that we provided for the R12 upgrade as well. So, and that concludes my portion of the presentation. Now I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Seren, and Seren's going to cover the upgrade process as well as some of the security changes that are coming in R12.
Thanks, Will. Yes, thanks, Will. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the call. This is Seren, and I'll be talking about the general Oracle Sales Cloud upgrade process and security changes coming in R12, and the upgrade process specific to the security change for the R12. So I would like to start with the general Oracle Sales Cloud upgrade process. So the Oracle Sales Cloud upgrade should be treated as a separate project by itself with both IT and business teams participation, and should be planned at least 4 to 8 weeks in advance, depending on the level of customizations you have. Even though the core technical upgrade is completed by Oracle, there are a lot of important tasks or steps that should be completed by you, and that is why you need to treat this as a separate project. And as you can see in this image, in general, we have about 7 steps to be performed for the upgrade, and the ones highlighted in red should be completed by you, and the rest will be completed by Oracle. So I would like to briefly talk about each step in the process, and let's start with the schedule. As I mentioned earlier, the upgrade should be scheduled at least 4 to 8 weeks in advance, and as you know, Oracle usually sends a notification informing the upgrade dates and instructions for approving them. So if the proposed dates don't work, then you can reschedule it either by contacting your CDM or by using My Services portal, and you can reschedule it. And also during this time, you can request for P2T, that is called Production to Test Refresh, for keeping both environments in sync prior to the upgrade. And the second stage is the review. In this stage, you need to review the upcoming release notes or documentation and identify the critical functionality changes coming with the new release, and identify the new features that has been introduced with the new release, and plan for your new functionality releases. And in this stage, you can update your end user manuals as well. So in the next step, pre-upgrade steps, if the coming new release needs any pre-upgrade tasks to be done, then you will receive an email notification from Oracle with the instructions, and you need to complete them prior to the upgrade, and you should test them thoroughly and make sure the existing functionality works fine. And after the pre-upgrade script or tasks are completed by Oracle, they usually will send you a notification with the changes they have made. And the next one, the next stage is the upgrade non-prod instance. So it's actually done by Oracle, and then, as I mentioned, they will first upgrade the non-prod instance, or it's called a staging instance as well, a few weeks before the production upgrade, and will send you a notification when it is completed. So the next one is validate upgrade, and this is a very important step in the upgrade process. And this is a step where you need to validate your upgraded application, which is the upgraded staging application at this point of time, and make sure all the existing functionality works fine and shouldn't have any impact. If at all you find any issues, then you should be contacting Oracle support as soon as possible and get them resolved before the production upgrade starts. And the next step is the upgrade production. Again, this step is completed by Oracle, and they upgrade the production instance and send you the notification when it is completed. And the last stage in the upgrade process is deploy release. If you have made any changes in the test instance after the upgrade for fixing any upgrade issues, or if you have enabled any new functionality, then you need to deploy them to the production application. So, the time frame shown in this image are approximate and could differ from customer to customer. So at a very high level, that's how the typical OSC upgrade process looks like. But with R12, there are some special steps you need to complete related to security, which I'll be covering in a bit. And this task is independent of the typical upgrade cycle. So now I would like to talk about the R12 security changes and the impact of them coming in R12. So as you might have already heard, there are a few major security architectural changes coming in Release 12. As shown in this image, these are the 5 major changes coming, which may require you to perform certain pre-upgrade tasks specific to the security. So let's start with the first one, which is Security Console to replace APM and OEM. So in Release 12, the Security Console will be replacing both Oracle Identity Manager and the Application Policy Manager. So you will have a single tool for managing all of your security activities. And the second one is the Policy Lockdown. In Release 12, all seeded roles, role hierarchies, and policies will be made read-only and will no longer be editable. And third one is the factory reset. So if you have made any changes to the seeded roles or policies in previous releases, they will all be removed and reset to the factory settings. So due to the policy lockdown and factory reset, you must complete the Release 12 pre-upgrade tasks if you have made any changes to the seeded roles. And if you have created any new custom roles, there won't be any impact to them, and the changes will remain the same. This applies only to the modified seeded roles. And at the same time, I'll be talking in detail about the pre-upgrade tasks coming in the next slides. And the next one is the privileges read-only. And in Release 12, the functional privileges are made read-only, and you cannot create any new ones from Release 12 onwards. Role hierarchy changes. So there won't be any enterprise job roles in Release 12, and it will be merged with the application job roles during the R12 upgrade. So we will have just the application job roles in R12. So here's a screenshot of the new Security Console introduced in Release 12. So this image shows the new features of the Security Console. As you can see, the OEM and APM functionalities are moved to Security Console. And in addition, you can manage user lifecycle, password policies, and certificate management for the single sign-on feature. So in release 12, in short, the security console will be used for all security management activities. And as I mentioned before, I would like to cover the R12 security upgrade process flow. As I mentioned before, due to the security changes coming in the release 12, the upgrade process is done in 2 cycles. So in the first cycle, Oracle should have completed the pre-upgrade task for the security in release 11. And the second cycle is the typical OSC upgrade process, which I have already covered before, and it is the same process for the release 12 as well. And now I would like to quickly talk about the pre-upgrade tasks in the first cycle. I won't be going through each and every step, but we'll talk about the general process with the pre-upgrade tasks. So before I start, I would like to mention that the first cycle is relevant only if you have modified seeded roles without copying them in previous releases. So if you haven't done that, then it doesn't concern you. So it only applies to the modified seeded roles. So in this flow, the tasks colored in red should have already been completed by you and Oracle, and the blue ones may be pending. The pending ones are the R12 upgrade, which is yet to come. So by now, most of you should have already received the pre-upgrade task notification from Oracle, and the pre-upgrade script should have run in both non-prod and prod instances. So if you had modified any seeded roles in previous releases, then you should have received a notification with the details on impacted seeded roles and the auto-copied roles. Excuse me. So if you have made any changes in non-prod instance after the pre-upgrade script is run, then as I mentioned before, then you should have deployed them to production and must have completed the application validation. If you haven't done this part, obviously, because of the pre-upgrade script run, you should have had some impact. And that concludes the first cycle. So as I mentioned, the second cycle is the general R12 upgrade process. So that falls under the same general upgrade process flow, which we already covered. So as I mentioned, based on our understanding of calendar for the pre-upgrade tasks, the items which I mentioned should have already been completed by now in almost all of your instances in both prod and non-prod instances. So at a very high level, those are the pre-upgrade tasks involved in release 12 upgrade per cycle. And as I mentioned before, the second cycle is yet to come. So I would like to talk about the pre-upgrade script already run in your instances. So when the script was run by Oracle, as shown in this image, it should have made a copy of the modified seeded role and mapped it to the enterprise job role and user. So when they ran that script, they would have made a copy of the modified seeded role, and they would have already assigned it to the enterprise job role and to the user. So and another important point here is if you have modified any seeded functional privileges mapped to the application job role, that needs to be manually remapped. So by default, it won't map the copied role to the copied functional privileges. And here's an example of the modified seeded sales representative role. So when the script was run, it made a copy of it and suffixed auto-copy string to it and prefixed the same for the role code as shown in this example. So if it was if the role display name was sales representative, now after the copy role should be having it like sales representative and auto-copy string suffixed. And here are the notifications you should have received prior to the pre-upgrade script run. This is a past event which we should have been already completed in all of your instances. You should have received notifications similar to this, and this is the one we have received for our internal Oracle Sales Cloud application, and we Perficient use the same OSC application. And if you look at this notification, after completing the script run, you should have received an email. If at all you had any modified seeded role, you should have received a notification which is similar to this with the details on the copied roles and the copied privileges. And actions before pre-upgrade script. And here are some of the actions recommended before the pre-upgrade script run, and you should have completed all of these in your instances, like just such as like the identifying the application areas mapped to the modified seeded roles in the application areas, like dynamic page layouts, record type fields, saved searches, custom pages, inflets and dashboards, Groovy scripts, EL expressions. So after that, you should have already tested the existing functionality before the pre-upgrade process runs. And here are some of the actions you should have completed in a post pre-upgrade script run, like validating the copied role. You should have gone to Security Console and made sure all of the modified roles are copied properly, and should have verified all the privileges have been properly mapped to them. And after that, you should have mapped, wherever the seeded roles were mapped before, prior to the pre-upgrade, you should have remapped them to the latest copied roles. So as I mentioned, these are the areas you need to be remapping them, and you should have completed the testing of the application. And here are some of the important notes related to the pre-upgrade process. So after the pre-upgrade tasks are completed, you shouldn't find any changes in the application functionality or behavior in your current release 11. If at all you found any difference, then you should be talking to Oracle support and get it resolved. Even before that, make sure that you have properly mapped those copied seeded roles. And after the pre-upgrade script has run, you shouldn't be making any customizations to the seeded roles or privileges. So as I mentioned before, we are still in the release 11. So even though the pre-upgrade script has been run, you would be still able to customize the seeded roles or the privileges. So we shouldn't be doing it, because if at all you have done so, those will be set to the factory settings, and all of those changes will be lost. And the last one is, if at all you have made any changes after the pre-upgrade script has been run, then you should definitely deploy those changes to production. And the objective here is to keep both non-prod and prod application in sync prior to the upgrade. So when the R12 upgrade is completed, as I mentioned, that's when the security changes I covered before are applied. And as a part of it, the enterprise job role and application job roles will be merged, as shown in the screenshot. So there won't be any enterprise job roles in release 12, and we'll only have the application job roles. So far, we just talked about some of the activities happen with the pre-upgrade tasks, and what's still pending for most of us is the actual upgrade cycle from R11 to R12. For that, as I mentioned before, the process is going to be similar, which is similar to the previous upgrade cycles. So by now, some of you might have already received notifications for the R12 staging upgrade. And if you want to change those dates, you need to talk to your CDMR, schedule it from My Services portal, and confirm the dates. And once the dates are confirmed, you will receive a notification from Oracle. And also, at this point of time, it is recommended for you to make sure your both production and test applications are in sync. So similarly, you will receive upgrade notifications for the production instance as well. So as per our understanding of the current upgrade calendar, it seems like the upgrade cycles will be spanning between Q2 and Q3 of this calendar year. So here is a screenshot of the R12 upgrade notification we have received in the email. So as you can see, it states the specific time of the upgrade when Oracle is going to run. And as I mentioned before, if you want to change these dates, you need to talk to your CDMR, go to your My Services portal, and make those reschedule it. And once you confirm the dates, you should be receiving another notification which confirms the schedule. So these are the two notifications you should be receiving for the R12 upgrade specific to the non-prod instance. And that concludes my presentation. With that, I would like to hand over it to Suresh, and he will cover the Engagement Cloud topic. Back to you, Suresh.
Thanks, Suren. I know we're kind of close to the top of the hour, so I'll try to go through my piece really quickly. So with Engagement Cloud, first of all, I want to make sure everybody understands that Engagement Cloud is a separate offering. It is built on the same Sales Cloud platform. However, it is a separately licensed product. And so with Engagement Cloud, Oracle is trying to have a more complete sales, service, and partner management platform. As you know, the Sales Cloud already has sales and partner management capabilities. So if you look at the wheel there, most of those things already exist, like partner certifications, business planning, sales performance management or incentive compensation, CDM or contact data enrichment, and master data management. In addition to that, MDF, which is also part of the partner relationship management functionality. So those functionality already exist. What Engagement Cloud is going to do is add a few sectors in these things that are being shown here in addition to some of the core aspects in the center, right? So what Engagement Cloud is going to add to this is the digital self-service capability, knowledge management, service management, and field service management, and multi-channel support. So those are some key capabilities that are going to be added with Engagement Cloud. But again, keep in mind that it's a roadmap that they have starting with Release 12. So there are some capabilities coming in R12, and there are some more key capabilities that are coming in R13, and some more down the line, right? So I will try to share with you guys what is essentially coming in R12, and then what's coming in R13 that we know of. Again, keep in mind that's under the Oracle Safe Harbor statement, so it could vary. This slide is just saying that it is the Engagement Cloud is built on the same platform as Sales Cloud. So in terms of the extensibility framework of using App Composer, it's the same. It's using the same security model. It's using the same infrastructure pieces for import, export, assignment, email notifications, search, and APIs, and so on. It's also going to have a common administration platform for setup and deployment, so your setup and maintenance, and the lifecycle management does not change. So whatever, if you have learned Sales Cloud, then you'll be able to work with Engagement Cloud seamlessly. So what is being added with Release 12? Primarily two main things. One is the service request management capability. So what that means is we are adding a new object for service request. Some people might have done this as a customization in Release 11 or prior ones if they wanted to build some rudimentary service management capability. But that's something that's being added in R12 as an object in itself, and it's meant for basically tracking service request or case management. And then the collaboration services behind it, which is primarily the link to OSN for now. And then it's also going to have the follow-up and response, which is primarily your activity management built around that capability within Sales Cloud. The other key aspect that's coming in is the knowledge management. Some of you may be familiar with Inquira. Inquira was a product that Oracle acquired a few years ago that had probably one of the best knowledge management or guided knowledge management, as people call it, because it's not like it's slightly different from how some of those natural language searches work like Google. This is more structured, where it gives you back structured results and things like that. So it's intelligent search. It has auto-suggest It has the auto-suggest capability, and it also has capability to do service in the context. So that means if the knowledge, you'll be able to search based on some of the key aspects of like subject or things like that in the case. And it's also going to have the key capability for doing knowledge authoring, which basically says, okay, if you want to create this knowledge, then you need the capability to author the knowledge itself and publish it and so on, and the workflow to support it. So all that is going to be in R12 with knowledge management. And then one other key aspect of this is really the change in the UI paradigm, primarily for service request. With Sales Cloud, at this point, until this point, all objects, as an example, if you're looking at a specific account or an opportunity, you can only look at one record at a time. With service request, clearly the expectation is they're looking at multiple service requests at the same time, the case management person. And so it allows you to open multiple records at the same time as different tabs as shown here, and have the tab navigation to go between the multiple service requests in case there are multiple service requests that you're talking to a customer or a client about. So that's kind of one of the key aspects of the paradigm that has been introduced with the Engagement Cloud. Again, this is a slide that kind of talks about what's in R12 and what's coming in R13. As you can see, R12 primarily gives you the service request and activity tracking and the sales and service collaboration. That's the ability for you to look at both sales and service aspects of the customer, and also to be able to use the OSM capabilities and so on. What is expected to be coming, and then obviously the other one is the knowledge management and the content authoring that's coming with R12. What's coming in R13, or is expected to come in R13, is additional capabilities primarily around the main one is the self-service portal. So what's going to be introduced is this customer self-service portal that's going to have integrated knowledge management and the ability for the customers to do their own case submission and tracking of cases. And the portal itself is expected to have drag and drop configuration and custom branding capabilities. In addition to it, it's also going to have some multi-channel support in terms of supporting both email, phone, chat, and co-browse as capabilities through which you can interact with the service agents. In addition to it, it's also going to have capabilities to do SLA and entitled management. That's basically if you have service contracts, we're to be able to track those service contracts and entitlements that goes with it. So those are some of the key enhancements that are expected in R13 with Engagement Cloud. Again, really quick on the Engagement Cloud, the key is the self-service portal that's coming in R13. And the key positioning is with R13, you have two products, Service Cloud and Engagement Cloud, which have very similar capabilities. The positioning for those is very different. One, the Service Cloud is expected to be more for high-volume contact centers where there is high transaction volume, and these are typically in more like a B2B space. Engagement Cloud is more for combined sales and service roles, where it's more B2B, and it's low volume but high touch. That means there's more interaction that's needed with those clients from a service management perspective. And this is, again, where Oracle thinks it's going to be the best fit from an Engagement Cloud perspective, which is high touch, high-value clients, primarily in the B2B space. This is where the sales rep is providing both account support, both customer service and support. And from a specific industries, these are some specific industries where that's going to be relevant, right? High tech, financial services, communications, consumer goods, and automotive. With that, what I'm going to do is hand it over to Susan, and she'll be talking about how we answer the Q&A session. I know we have only about 6 minutes left, but so Susan.
Thanks, Suresh. As Suresh mentioned, we are going to begin the Q&A portion of today's event. So as a reminder, if you haven't had a chance to actually put your question in that chat window, that's actually where you ask your question. So just go ahead and type it into the window at this time. And we do apologize that we ran a little bit long, so we don't have as much opportunity for Q&A as we would like to have. But go ahead and ask your questions anyway, and if we don't have a chance to get to all of them, we'll make sure that someone does follow up with you. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and hand it back over to you, Suresh, so we can begin to try to get through some of these questions.
Okay. Thank you. So the questions are coming in. So what I'll go ahead and do is answer a couple of questions that have already been asked. So one is, when is R12 available, right? So most people, it's generally available now. So any new customer that's buying Oracle Sales Cloud will be provisioned R12. And I think for existing customers, the upgrade cycle is starting now. So there are customers that are scheduled to have their staging environment upgraded as early as April. And the cycle goes all the way from beginning of April till probably sometime in Q2. The other question that's come up earlier, and I covered, is Engagement Cloud part of Sales Cloud. They are two separately licensed products, but they are on the same platform. So the answer is it's part of Sales Cloud, but it's separately licensed. So when is Engagement Cloud available? So the Engagement Cloud is available with R12. So if you have R12, you should be able to purchase Engagement Cloud. And then the other question is also asked by Courtney, which is regarding the mobile cloud, so the mobile application. So the mobile app for the new enterprise mobile app that's coming with R12, it is a separate app. However, with R12, both the application, which is now the old application, which is called the classic application, and the new enterprise mobile app are both supported. And so if you are looking to use the new mobile app, you would have to redo all the configurations in the new R12 mobile app, and there is a separate app composer available for the new mobile app in R12. The other question that has come up is around the personalization that's going to be available, and that's also from Courtney. And the question asks is the personalization of the Springboard something that the users can do themselves or something the admin does? So the capability to configure the dashboard or the Springboard already exists with R11 and also with R10. So that's something that you can do as part of the customizations you do with the Springboard and the EL expressions. What is getting available in R12 is really for the end user to do their own customizations of the homepage and customize the Springboard itself.
So Suresh, it looks like we have time for maybe one more question before we move on. Do you have another question there you want to address in the short time?
Yeah. So this is again regarding the R12 upgrade on the mobile app. Comes from Tracy. Do we have to wait for R12 upgrade to begin using the mobile app enhancements/merges? The answer is yes. So the enterprise mobile app, the current mobile app exists and you could continue to use it, configure and use it in R11 or R12. But if you haven't, then my advice would be for you to wait until R12 and use the enterprise mobile app, because ultimately at some point the classic mobile app application is something that will be going away. We don't have an exact date and things or release when that's happened. But so it's better for you to, if you haven't started enabling the mobile app itself, is to wait for R12 and enable the enterprise mobile app, because that's the new mobile app and it's on a completely different application development platform. And that's one of the key enhancements that's happening in R12.
So with that, Suresh, we're going to have to close the Q&A portion of today's event so that we can get people on their way. But I want to encourage everyone to please follow Perficient online. We have our Oracle blog that I encourage you to check out. We have new content that's updated daily. All of our very talented folks are sharing their knowledge and insights on the tools and technologies that they use every day. And if you are attending Collaborate by chance, coming up here April 2nd through 6th in Las Vegas, please do stop by. We'll be presenting, and we actually have 7 sessions as well that we are delivering at Collaborate. So we're excited to be there. And next on deck from our webinar series is how to empower your business users with Oracle Data Visualization. So if that's of interest, please do look for that invitation to come in your email soon. So with that, I'd like to remind everybody you will be sent an email with a link to the slides to today's session. I realize there's a lot of information there, so you most likely will want to revisit the slides. But as always, you will be sent a link to the on-demand event as well, so you can go back and review anything that you would like to or share with your colleagues. So Suresh and Will and Suren, thank you so much for your time today. And to everyone who joined us on the call, thank you, and we hope to see you online in the future.